homeopathic ipecac, it takes away the symptoms. So this is the whole concept of like cures like. It's the #1 principle in homeopathy, that the entire system, the entire medical system of homeopathy is based upon. Well, what could be closer to like than the person themselves? The person themselves obviously has the entire, or potentially the entire photonic blueprint of themselves on some level that their body's basically emitting. Even if it's being emitted on very, very low light levels. You know, like we talk about lumens of light. You go to a premiere and you see those big lights crossing in the sky. Well, that might be 1,000,000 lumens of light. The light that's in the ceiling right here, maybe it's only 500 or 600 lumens of light. Well, what if the human holocode on a photonic level is 0.0001 lumen? Well, that's where high megapixel cameras come into play, because their sensors are so sensitive that they can capture this very, very low light information. And that's the general concept that we're doing here with the holocode technology. We use high megapixel cameras, or you can actually take your cell phone and take a selfie of yourself. And your camera is actually capturing all the photonic data of you that your body is emitting. And you then take that information, you then play the video back to a bottle of holocode water, and that information gets picked up by the water, and then you drink that water, and you're basically like drinking photonic information of you. So going back to the concept of like cures like, there is nothing that can be closer to a like cures like principle than actually using your own body, as opposed to going out into nature and finding different substances and converting them into homeopathic remedies, which has been what's been done in homeopathy for the last 150 years. I discovered, like I said, treating tens of thousands of patients as a medical doctor, trained in homeopathy, as well as numerous other alternative medical disciplines, that it's actually much more effective to actually just use high megapixel cameras or high 4K video of that individual, and then take that information using, very, high-speed computer systems and software, convert that information into a video, and then play it through a 4K TV set, or even your 4K screen on your cell phone, into the water. Water picks it up. All that information is now in the water. Drink that water. Brain sends all that photonic information back to your hologram. The hologram becomes illuminated, and then it sends out a more accurate projection, holographic projection of you, which then converts via the God particle into physical matter tissue form. Now, this holocode or holo image that I'm talking about is gigantic. It could be in the order of magnitude of 10 to the 100th power or greater. So, gigabytes. So this information is so large that in order to properly, actually fully illuminate this hologram of you floating in, in the black hole, that hologram has to basically, that holographic data has to be captured over a period of time, because there's so much of it. And this data can only be captured incrementally, serially, over time. So it's a good idea to repeat these captures, these selfies of yourself, or what we call holoscans. There's two different forms of selfies. A professional medical grade selfie, which we conduct at our clinic, and then a more easier to obtain personal selfie that you can actually just use your cell phone to capture. But the basic concept is the same. Our cameras have been specially converted. We've removed the infrared filters and the UV filters so that we have actually full spectrum capture of your holo image. Your cell phones obviously are going to still have an infrared and a UV filter built into them, because when you're taking pictures or you're taking video using your cell phone, that picture or video, all you want to see is visible light. You don't want to see the UV, you don't want to see the infrared. So that's why those filters are there. But our cameras at our clinic have been converted so that the UV and the IR filters have been removed, so we get full spectrum capture. All the information that your holo image is basically emitting. And these 50 megapixel cameras that we use and 4K video cameras that we use captures that information and is what's used to actually create your selfie video. So going back to what I was saying though, that the hologram of you floating in the black hole or someplace in space has to be illuminated. This is an integrated type of holographic system. Traditional holograms, the light is just simply projected through the hologram and then you have holographic projection. But in this scenario, we have a hologram, we then have a holographic projection, we then have conversion of that information to physical body form. Typically that starts in utero. And basically what's occurring is that information takes about 9 months to download all the data that's contained in that holographic projection. And then you have a baby that's born who then grows up and then consumes food after birth. And the food is what contains the this photonic data. So an orange, for example, on a subatomic level is nothing more than a very specific bandwidth of photons. Vitamin C, for example, just has a very specific bandwidth of photons. So when you go and you say, I'm eating an orange in order to get vitamin C, that's not really what you're looking to get. You're looking to get a very specific bandwidth of photons that are associated with vitamin C. So when you consume the orange, you get that bandwidth of vitamin C. Your brain sends that information of vitamin C photonically back to your hologram. The hologram becomes illuminated. That vitamin C then goes into all your connective tissues, your ligaments, your tendons, your organs, your glands, your hair, your skin, and it then allows for that holographic image of you to project into three-dimensional space. Once that information hits the Higgs field and through the water that's in your body, don't forget when you're in utero, the embryo is developing in a water sac. Yes, there is some water inside the developing embryo, but a lot of the water is on the outside of the body. Once you're born, all the water is on the inside of your body. So this information, this projection of your holo image, first is coming through the mother, down through the water sac, into the embryo, developing embryo, and the download speed is what determines the rate of growth. Once you're born, then when you eat food, that information is actually coming from within the body, through the water, and then is expressing itself into the cells, into the glands, into the organs, into the tissues, and you then are continuing to manifest a healthy human body. And that's kind of how the principle works. If you take supplements, well, those supplements are just simply different types of herbs or foods that have been concentrated or extracted. Well, they still contain various bandwidths of photons on a subatomic level. So when you're taking supplements, you're not taking supplements for the various multivitamins or multiminerals or certain types of antioxidants or cofactors, like coenzyme Q10. You're taking coenzyme Q10 because you're looking for the specific underlying photonic bandwidth of energy that's required to illuminate your hologram in a very specific way. For example, coenzyme Q10 is known as for mitochondrial support, especially for the heart and for cardiovascular tissue. So what that means is that the part of the hologram that's encodes for the heart needs the photons associated with coenzyme Q10. And when it gets those photons, it then projects a healthy heart. And then that converts through the water inside our body. The water is the lens.